The last time you really cried, you probably tried to stop it. You felt it climb up the back of your throat. Your vision went glassy, and some old instinct told you to fight it, to blink it back, to turn away so that no one would see. Crying feels like a malfunction, a loss of control, a small embarrassing leak in a system that is supposed to hold. But it is not a malfunction. It may be one of the most sophisticated things your body has ever learned to do. And here is the part that should stop you. As far as science can tell, you belong to the only species on this entire planet that does it. No other animal on Earth cries the way you do. Think about that for a moment. Every creature alive has eyes. Most of them have tears. A dog's eyes water. A crocodile's eyes leak. But not one of them sheds a single tear because its heart is breaking. That belongs to you alone. The question is why? Why would nature hand one animal, and only one, the ability to cry? To answer that, you first have to understand that you do not have one kind of tear. You have three. The first kind is always there, a thin, invisible film that coats your eye and keeps it from drying out. You make it every second of every day, and you never notice it. The second kind is the emergency kind. Slice an onion, catch a fleck of dust, and your eye floods to wash the threat away. Those are reflex tears, and almost every animal with eyes makes them. But the third kind is different. The third kind only you make. These are emotional tears, the ones that arrive with grief, with joy, with overwhelm. And here is what should surprise you. They are not even chemically the same as the others. A researcher named William Frey, who spent years studying what tears are actually made of, found that emotional tears appear to carry a different cargo than the tears you cry over an onion. They seem to hold more protein and traces of stress-related chemicals your body was carrying in that moment. The tear that falls when you are heartbroken is not the same liquid as the tear that falls when you chop a vegetable. Your body makes a special fluid for sorrow. So a question sits underneath all of this, and it is stranger than it first sounds. Why would your eyes blur at the exact moment you might most need to see? Hold on to that, because it is the key to everything. First, look at how rare this really is. The leading expert on human crying is a Dutch psychologist named Vingerhoets, who has spent his career studying why people weep. He even wrote a book with a title that says it plainly, Why Only Humans Weep. And after all that research, his conclusion is striking. Other animals make tears to protect the eye, but the act of weeping from emotion, of leaking feeling out through your face, has never been reliably found in any other species. Elephants, apes, your own dog, no matter how deeply they feel, do not cry the way you do. You are, as far as we can tell, alone in this. And you were not born able to do it. A newborn baby screams, it wails, it goes red, it fills the room with sound. But for the first weeks of life, that crying is dry. No tears. Emotional tears do not switch on until a baby is 1 to 3 months old. The signal has to be installed. Your body waits until you have arrived in the world of other people, and only then does it hand you the ability to cry. That timing is a clue. It tells you that tears are not really about you at all. They are about everyone around you. And here is why it might be you, of all the animals, who got this gift. No creature on Earth is born as helpless as a human, or stays helpless for as long. A foal walks within hours of birth. A human infant cannot survive a single day on its own, and will lean on other people for years. Our entire survival strategy is each other. We are the species that lives or dies by how well we can pull care, cooperation, and rescue out of the people around us. An animal like that needs a way to ask for help that cannot be faked and cannot be ignored. A loud, honest, visible signal of need. Tears are exactly that. It makes a strange kind of sense that the most dependent, most social, most deeply interconnected animal alive would be the one to evolve a flag of pure vulnerability stitched right into its face. You did not get tears in spite of being human. You got them because of it. The thing you were taught to be ashamed of is the very thing that kept your ancestors alive. So why do we cry? For a long time, the popular answer was that it makes you feel better. William Frey suggested that crying might be the body's way of flushing out stress, that those extra chemicals in emotional tears were being deliberately excreted, like a release valve for grief. It is a comforting idea. You cry, the sadness drains out with the tears, and you feel lighter. The trouble is, when researchers tested it carefully, the evidence got shaky. People do not reliably feel better right after crying. Sometimes they feel worse. The cathartic flush, the idea that you are crying the pain out of your body, turns out to be far weaker than it feels. Which means the real reason has to be something else. And it brings us straight back to that blurred vision. Picture the moment tears fill your eyes. Your sight smears. The world goes soft and useless. From a pure survival standpoint, that is insane. You have just blinded yourself in a moment of distress, the exact moment a wild animal would need its eyes most. Evolution does not usually build self-sabotage like that, so if blurred vision survived, it must be doing something valuable. And the answer is that the blur is not the cost of crying. The blur is the message. When your eyes flood and you can no longer see clearly, you are signaling something that words cannot fake. You are saying, I cannot fight, I cannot run, I am not a threat to you. Tears are a flag of pure vulnerability, and vulnerability in a social animal is not weakness. It is a request. It reaches into the people around you and pulls out the one response that built our entire species. It pulls out care. This is what Vingerhoets and others now believe crying really is. Not a release valve, but a signal. A wet, visible, impossible to fake announcement that you need help. When you see tears on another person's face, you read them instantly. You soften. You move closer. Studies that show people the very same face, once with tears and once with the tears digitally removed, find that the tearful face is read as sadder, as more in need, as someone you want to reach out to. The tears do the talking. They turn a private feeling into a public call for connection, and they do it faster than any sentence ever could. So crying is a language, the oldest one you have, a way of telling the truth about your pain before you had any words at all. But there is one more layer, and this is where it gets genuinely strange, because your tears may not just be something other people see. They may be something other people can smell. In 2011, a team of scientists at the Weizmann Institute, led by Noam Sobel with a researcher named Shani Gelstein, ran an experiment that sounds almost unbelievable. They collected emotional tears from women watching sad films. Then they had men simply sniff those tears. The men did not watch anyone cry. There was no sad face, no story, nothing emotional in the room. The tears themselves were completely odorless. The men could not even tell they were smelling anything unusual. And yet the tears changed them. The men who sniffed the emotional tears showed a measurable drop in testosterone. Their physical arousal went down. Their own bodies quietly responded to a chemical message carried inside another person's grief, a message they never consciously detected. Your tears, it turns out, may be broadcasting on a frequency below awareness, reaching into the chemistry of the people near you and gently turning something down. The aggression, the heat, the threat. Crying does not just look like surrender. On some hidden level, it may chemically create peace. Now put all of it together and look at what you actually are. You are a creature whose body manufactures a special fluid for sorrow that blurs your own eyes on purpose to prove you mean no harm, that floods your face with a visible, honest signal the moment you need someone. And that may even carry an invisible chemical whisper, calming the people who come close. None of that is a malfunction. Every piece of it is built. You did not evolve to cry alone in the dark. You evolved to cry in front of each other, and that changes what crying means in a world like ours. You live in a culture that tells you to hold it together, to not cry at work, to not cry in front of others, to apologize the moment your eyes get wet. But your tears are older than that culture by 100,000 years. They are a piece of equipment designed for one purpose, to bind you to other people in the moments you cannot stand alone. When someone cries in front of you, they are not falling apart in your presence. They are trusting you with the most ancient signal our species has. They are handing you their unguarded self. So think again about the last time you tried to stop it. You were not breaking down. You were not glitching or leaking or failing to stay in control. You were doing something no crocodile, no dog, no ape, no other living thing on this planet can do. You were telling the truth without a single word, in a language your body learned long before it learned to speak. The last time you cried, you tried to hide it. The next time you might remember that the tears were never the weakness. They were never the breakdown. They were the whole point, the oldest and truest thing you have ever known how to do.